My name is Lisa Payne. I would like to introduce to you my Teachers in Action project. It was done alongside of my classmate Terry Ann Clark. We called it Handcrafted Beanbag Boogie. It took place at Boggy Creek Elementary School, and it was very fun to say the very least. Our Teachers in Action project took place at Boggy Creek Elementary. The vision at the school is to build a solid foundation for every child to achieve their highest potential in a global society. Everyone is important and deserves respect. Everyone is capable, and by working hard, we can achieve our goals. Boggy Creek is a Title I elementary school in Osceola County, Florida. It's a public school, but they have a choice option for those who wish to attend who are outside the school zone. It's got a diverse student body, which includes mainstream students as well as those with special needs. Specifically, we worked alongside Ms. McNamee, who has 9 students on varying levels of the autism spectrum. Let me tell you a little bit about why we chose the project that we did. Teachers often buy supplies with their own money out of their own pockets, and it can get very expensive, and we wanted to help out in some way with this. The idea of the beanbag project came about from a fellow teacher who expressed her need for supplies in her classroom. We had a meeting with the teacher to determine what supplies her classroom needed. She specifically requested beanbags for her students with autism. She explained that through different activities with the beanbags, it can help with sensory development, social skills, and motor skills. To make it interesting, we decided to provide handmade beanbags. We thought it would be more intimate that way, more personal. And we presented the bean bags to the students through what we called a play date, which allowed us to participate in beanbag activities with the students and the teacher to kind of see how the bean bags worked in the classroom. Coming into this project, I had a lot of early perceptions. First thing I felt was excited because I love service learning. That's always been one of my favorite things with the classes that I've been taking. But since this was a different type of service learning, I was kind of fearful that I wouldn't really be able to come up with a worthwhile project. I was apprehensive about picking the right one that was good for me, that was good for Terry Ann, that was good, for us as a group trying to work through the project. Hopeful that we would actually come up with something. Optimistic once we started brainstorming. And then once we figured out what we were going to do as a project, I was confident that we'd be able to knock it out of the park. And it actually turned out really well. It was a very fun project. We both worked really hard on these bean bags. If you've ever tried to hand sew something, it is not that easy if you really don't know what you're doing. I don't have much experience with hand sewing, so at first I was kind of winging it. I ended up not being able to use the first two or three bean bags that I made because, it was kind of a troubleshooting thing. After the first one, you figured out, I could do this better on the second one. After the second one, it was like, well, this could even be better. And, by the time you got to the third, fourth bean bag, you were kind of on a roll and it kind of worked out well. For the inside of the bean bags, I personally chose to use rocks. I had a couple with rice in it, and then I had a couple with the rocks in it. The rocks I liked because when you shook the bean bags, it made a sound. The rice didn't really, so I figured since it was for students who are on the spectrum that sensory stimulation would be very, very beneficial to them. And I actually enjoyed, I sat there for a long time just shaking the beanbag listening to the rocks. We worked really hard on the beanbags. They ended up turning out really well, so I'm very proud of that. These are our beanbags, the finished product. The stickers were actually put on by the students, which they really enjoyed that. We made a total of 20, but by the time everything was over with and we actually learned how to make them to where they wouldn't just rip apart before you even were able to use them, we had completed 16 that we presented to the students and they really enjoyed them. Once we finally got the bean bags completed, we were all ready for our play date at Boggy Creek Elementary. That's Terry Ann and I there on the left, ready for our play date. And on the right, this is Terry Ann and I with Miss McNamee. She was actually a former classmate of mine. And she was nice enough to allow us to be a guest in her classroom with her students, who we presented the beanbags to. With the students, we did several different activities with the beanbags. This particular one, we were practicing our motor skills. So we put the beanbags on our elbows. We tried it on our heads. We tried it on our bellies. It was really fun. It was done alongside a video that was displayed up front. This is part of the same activity. This particular little boy, he was trying to stack all of the beanbags on top of his knee, which was really interesting to watch. Everybody had a really good time with the activity, so I was really proud that this is what we had chose to do. It was really fun. The students had a blast. The teacher had a blast. It was great. This is another activity that we did. This one was sort of a science lesson where we practiced using our senses. We asked the students, what do the beanbags look like? Do they have a smell? How do they feel? We compared different textures, sizes, stuff like that. It was really fun. These are two of the dances that we did with the students. One's the beanbag boogie, the other's the beanbag rock. They both essentially did the same thing. It was just a dance that they did and gave different prompts to the students on what to do with your beanbag as the song progressed. It was really fun, and watching the students do it, they had a blast. It was really great. The play date was really fun, and as you can see, by the time it was all over with, we had several busted beanbags. Once the students figured out that there was something inside it, their sensory overload kind of kicked in, so they were feeling it, and some were even tearing the bags apart to kind of figure out what was inside. They did it to a couple of them, but they didn't tear them apart so bad that they couldn't just be mended together. So they had a really good time. They played hard with the beanbags, as you can see. This Teachers in Action project was very rewarding on so many levels. First and foremost, we felt empowered because we were able to provide resources that didn't cost too much money for the teacher, and it didn't have to come out of her pocket. It was exciting to see the students' reactions to the beanbags and watching them interact with them throughout the different activities. All you can see is smiles on all of their faces, so that was really fun to watch. It was fun for us singing and dancing with them to the beanbag boogie and beanbag rock. It kind of took me a little bit out of my comfort zone, a little bit, but it was really fun. It was also enlightening to see them using their sensory skills to explore the beanbags. Even when they tore them apart to see what was inside, they just kept picking up what was inside and just rubbing it around their fingers and putting it back. It was really great to watch. It was also very interesting throughout the classroom to witness the varying levels of the students on the autism spectrum. One student was nonverbal, and one student had extreme social anxiety and didn't even participate. But you can tell he was sitting back, he was soaking in what was happening. He was watching, but he kind of stayed in his corner by the computer where, according to the teacher, that's where he is most of the time. But that was okay. You can tell that he was participating with his eyes, so that was a really good thing. As for the final thoughts on the project, we did learn that it's going to be necessary to repair the beanbags over time because the students played really hard with them, and a couple of them that they played with are actually going to need to be sewed up before the next time because they had already busted open, and the students had fun kind of feeling what was inside of them. But we could use, when we do fix them or make more, we can use stronger materials, hand, not hand sew them, but use a machine to sew them. I think doing it that way, the bean bags would last well beyond playtime. But it'll give us an opportunity to see the students again, provide them with more bean bags, help the teacher again. And that was the best part. It felt really good to provide the teacher with the materials that she requested and to see them utilized in the classroom with different activities was really educational. The whole project was a success for me. I really enjoyed doing it. I hope I have the opportunity to do something like this again, and I hope you enjoyed my project. Thank you.